Oh, Mina. One thing I've tried not to get too bogged down with on my reviews is talking about mechanics or a dry list of gameplay descriptions in my reviews. I can't promise I've always succeeded at that, but I'm always mindful of trying to capture the experience of playing a game. Let me set the scene. Portable gaming, mobile gaming, on-the-go gaming, whatever you want to call it, has always appealed to me. Ever since the Game Boy, I've been in love with the idea of gaming on the move. I spend a lot of time on the go outdoors or travelling. Also, I'm good with playing games on small screens, although I'll admit the original Game Boy screen is pretty hard on my eyes these days. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I grew up gaming on a small TV. Playing games on my Switch is A-OK by me. I don't personally need to be in front of a huge TV to have a good time gaming. But it's not just about not really being bothered about screen size. I think it's the fact I enjoy casual gaming as much as I enjoy sitting down and getting stuck into a 50 or 60 hour RPG. Whether it's a quick game of Tetris while waiting to get a table at a restaurant, chilling on the train getting 30 minutes of gaming between stops, when I'm staying overnight somewhere whilst whiling away the time in a hotel room, or chilling in the back of my van in the evening when I'm on a road trip. That's what appeals to me, especially these days, be it Game Boy, DS or Switch. Nintendo has always been strong on the portable gaming front. Enter Powerful Golf, a one-off foray into the sport for the Power Pro series that is way more famous, at least in Japan, for its baseball games. Starting back in 1994 on the Super Famicom and swiftly appearing on the PlayStation, Saturn and so on, its hallmark is the success mode introduced by the series in the third Super Famicom installment. Think of it being like an RPG combined with a racing simulator. If this sounds a bit alien to you, you might be aware of dating simulators where you work on your character's stats in order to attract attention. That's kind of what happens here, except the focus is much more on developing your character's golfing stats through training, passing tests through the story, and working to earn money to buy new equipment, and also meeting new characters along with following the story overall. This may all sound a bit supplementary, but it's key to this game. If you don't unlock certain characters, certain tournaments will be off limits, as I'll explain, and to make progress, you're going to need to work through the story mode to unlock everything and beat this game. Going back to my gameplay habits, this fits in great because I can play about 10-20 minutes of the success mode, save and then come back to it later. It really adds a richness to the game because in Powerful Golf, you don't just race the main character, there are shorter sub-stories as well, which in turn unlock further characters. The main story is around 2 to 3 hours in length should you plough through it, but it could easily take a learner of the Japanese language somewhat longer. I'll get to that bit in a bit. The World Tour mode keys into the Success mode, as previously mentioned, as you can use your character that you've built from the Success mode when you complete the main story, which gives you a player with better stats than the default that you start with. As I mentioned, you'll need to unlock other characters from the main Success mode and sub-stories in order to compete in certain tournaments in the 7 courses that are available to you. This is brilliant for the player on the go because you'll get a great variety of challenges across varied courses, which I'll detail in a moment. Some of these challenges are actually quite short, especially to start with, so you can easily squeeze these into a small play session that portable gaming lends itself to. And of course, between holes you can save your progress and pick it back up later. This is a game that really considers the portable gaming experience and nature of it, as well as giving you all sorts of fun challenges with the enjoyment of needing to unlock them. To dive a little bit into the gameplay, I want to talk about striking the ball. When it comes to giving it a whack, you'll see the depiction of a golf ball on the lowest screen. The nominal maximum distance of your chosen club is indicated by the outer extent of the golf ball. From this, you can see the optimal strike distance marked as you approach the hole and give the ball spin control via the D-pad. It's a novel idea and it works really well. At first, it may seem a little bit hard to get some accuracy, but it does come with practice. You just need to get a sense of timing with it all. Alongside this, you have a range of camera angles and viewing options to help you, but this is where I find my only fault with the system. When it comes to putting, you can get a range of views and the lie of the green is shown very well, but the direction of your putt is indicated by an arrowhead, not a line showing you the general direction of travel, which of course the lie could affect. I find the arrowhead to be just a little bit too vague compared to a line, and yes, you can hide your player using a right shoulder button to make things a little bit clearer, but I would have preferred a line indicating the general direction of putting. You do somewhat get used to it, though for longer putts it could be better. Otherwise, I love the system used here, and it does promote the idea of get good, I guess. Put it this way, the game is still wonderful. There is the multiplayer option in this game, but you'll require a card for both handhelds to make use of this. All in all, this is a beautifully presented game. The characters are well drawn, and the 3D is functional and immersive, or as immersive as you can get on the DS. I should also mention that the touch controls are not used for anything at all. Everything is done with the physical controls, and I'm glad of that in this game. I don't have anything against touch controls per se when they are integrated well. I just find navigation quicker with the buttons than navigating through touch options in most cases. In addition, the audio, whilst a little bit repetitive at times, is relaxing and enjoyable, complementing the game well with nice sound effects as well. I particularly liked the faint sound of frogs croaking on the Japan stage, reminding me of a summer evening in Japan when the rice paddies are alive with the sound of the frogs chorus. The Scotland course's music is a bit of an acquired taste though, but it's okay. All in all, this is a very well presented game for the DS. What I wanted to spend a little more time on in this review is the Japanese language level and talking about that. This is a game that everyone, even if they don't know Japanese, can at least have a round of golf in, but so much of it is locked away behind the success mode story, which you need to be able to understand and therefore navigate to really get the most out of this game. The level is beyond travel Japanese, and like I mentioned in my recent Poplacroix review, you'll meet some people who speak very casually in this game, and some that speak a little bit more elevated, but it's all pretty approachable. Interestingly, without giving away some of the story does involve foreigners in Japan and them speaking Japanese and acknowledging it's not their native tongue. If anything, the fact that a few non-Japanese characters are in this game's success mode becomes a big part of the story. For me, this is an ideal game for a learner that is transitioning towards playing more native material with story, because vocabulary and kanji can generally be learned from repetition. Grammar, however, is generally a tougher nettle to grasp when learning a language if you ask me. So the fact that this game's grammar is more approachable with more advanced vocabulary is a good way to stretch yourself. And I think that the story is actually engaging in this game's success mode. It's way deeper than what you may think, though it's not a literary marvel either. Sometimes you will laugh, sometimes you'll be moved. It's good stuff for what is ultimately a golf game. Put it this way, when your character's father thinks his nasal hair collection has been discovered and begs for you not to tell your mother, it was off to a good start. Being on a DS, kanji is used, which for any long-term learner of Japanese is going to tell you that it makes it easier to follow, though there is no furigana, which is a phonetic representation of how to pronounce a kanji. If you want a reference point study-wise, you'll need to be somewhere around JLPT N2 level with your vocabulary and kanji, and grammar around N3 level, which will be sufficient. Another nitpick is more about the limits of the DS itself, as some kanji gets a little bit mangled on lower resolution screens, such as in Kantan, which took me a second to realise what the first kanji was. Rather ironic really, but it's mostly pretty legible, and there is no spoken dialogue to understand either, it's just reading. Overall, I'd rate this game's Japanese level as at minimum conversational to get the most from the story and navigating the options. When it comes to rating, I'd rate this game as great, or 4 stars out of 5 on my rating scheme. I'd go as far as to say this is by far and away the best golf game on the DS, as we never got a Mario Golf installment until the 3DS. You can play a straightforward round of golf on any of your unlocked courses, as well as take part in a world tour with all of its challenges. On that, they are varied and amusing, from nearest putt, limited club challenges, stroke plays and competing against a challenger and much more. It gives so much variety to the game. It's just such a shame that the language barrier puts people off of this game, and to be fair, even for someone with travel level Japanese that can fluently read hiragana and katakana, you'll struggle through the story, though you may stumble through in the end. I find it most unusual that this game never got another sequel, be that on a 3DS or another system such as the PlayStation or later on the Switch. This was Power Pro's only foray into golf. Maybe it didn't sell as well as hoped though, and I wonder if the timing of its release played a part in this. For one, it was late into the DS's lifespan, and gosh, am I going to mention this? Okay. And secondly, it was released 1 week after one of the worst natural disasters in modern Japanese history, the Great East Japan Earthquake and Tsunami of March 11th, 2011. I feel somewhat awkward raising the latter, but I can't help but wonder, and going a little bit deeper for a moment, I think gaming does need to be connected to the real-world events surrounding it at times, as it helps inform the history and context of things. The Japanese Wikipedia page cites that Powerful Golf sold 39,745 copies which isn't that many compared to the same year's baseball installments of Power Pro Pocket, selling around about 120,000 copies, according to VG charts, down on the previous year's installments, but to be expected given it came out in late 2011 and being an indication of the DS's vitality as the 3DS began to take over at the time. Whatever the reason, we've never seen a sequel, and I think that's a shame, because in the right hands this could fill a very good niche on the Switch. Alas, what we have here is the best golf game on the DS and one of the very best portable golf games ever made. There, I said it. And yet, because it's a sports game with a story locked in Japanese, it'll probably not get the flowers it deserves. So in my small way, on the Rubbish Heap, I want to give this game the flowers it does deserve, because this is simply great, and it's the kind of game that means I'm still an avid gamer on my Nintendo DS years after its launch, and proves that retro gaming can be a very affordable pastime if you're willing to stray away from the received wisdom of crowds and the hidden gem lists, and find that there are diamonds in the rough. As always, like, subscribe and all of that shit, and also check out this rad Rubbish Heap merch, available worldwide on Redbubble and Amazon. See the links below for how to purchase. I've been Saki Endo, and this has been a Rubbish Heap. じゃあねーね。
パワフルゴルフはパワフルショットがヤバすぎる。よしよしよしよし。
日本のゴルフゲームをもっとパワフルに。よし。パワフルゴルフ。
よし。
コナミ